Hi, everybody. It's Thursday, June 5th, 2014, and we're Nerds on the Couch live. And we got a lot to cover today. Um, First off, jumping into our topics this week is again, right now here in El Paso, we're all dying of the heat. So summer is completely here. This weekend, we had a major blockbuster movie that we all saw, Maleficent. And man, we got a few pointers to talk about this movie. Um,
We're also missing one of our two of our members today. Orly couldn't make it, and Kelly also, is a little under the weather. Um, but yeah, Maleficent. Wow. Um, I was pleased with it myself. Um, I thought it was great. I know, Chino, you said you didn't see it.
I abstained. Yeah, I'm abstaining, dude. I had no interest in the movie.
well, I gotta say that I was a little interested because aside from the Disney connection, of course it's obvious a Disney connection. I gotta give it pointers because this was a complete fantasy film, and it was really well made. Actually, I gotta say I was impressed of how well put together it was.
And I mean, when we say well put together, at least I'm assuming you're talking about not necessarily technical aspects of it as much as basically good script and a real good strong fantasy base to it.
Oh, that exactly. I mean, I was going to get into it little by little, but it covers air as a broad stroke. Solid story, good casting choices, very well special effects. I can't deny, the special effects were top notch. I mean, I was expecting a little below par, maybe not quite as good because I was thinking, well, they're just imitating Sleeping Beauty, the Disney classic, but no, they completely went their own way. And this movie really had a vision that I got to say is a modern vision.
Uh, Modern, yes. One of the things that I go ahead and give them credit to is, I mean, a lot of modern fantasy, we've seen people go ahead and forget about the roots of fantasy and just do their own thing, going ahead and taking a little bit here, a little bit there, and you end up with horrendous train wrecks like Aragon. Um,
Oh, I'm trying to forget that one.
um, and basically, you could tell, for me at least, um, you could tell that these people actually knew the real roots of the mythology for the Fae or fairies, that they fully respected that, um, full on to what is it that no fairy can go ahead and fight against. I don't think it's a spoiler, but iron has a lot to do with this movie. Um, for me, they really did root it down into the Old English fairy mythology.
Well, you brought it up, and I got to give kudos. I mean, I was really impressed with how well they delved into the mythology of fantasy creatures. I mean, they took it seriously. They weren't playing around with it, and it was just amazing how this film really was. I mean, I came in there, like I said before, I was expecting it to be below par, that it was just going to be a quick flash in the pan. But no, this movie really delves into ideas that it doesn't quite, I mean, it's not quite Disney Vision because Disney Vision, again, wrote their own mythologies. They wrote their own ideas. And here you're right. They actually went into the literature. They went into, I guess, fantasy experts and mythological experts, and they delved into what a fairy would look like, what seahorse, I don't know what they were, the flying seahorses, and the different creatures, gnomes, trolls, I mean, it was
Water
just
horses, by the
amazing.
way.
What were they?
Water horses. They're
Yeah.
actually um, Old English fairies that would go ahead and lure. They would lure men to their deaths within the waters of small pools and lakes.
Well, yeah, they had those, but again, it was really impressive. And even then, some of the little tidbits I really enjoyed as a Disney aficionado. I mean, I love the beginning intro you're used to seeing in Cinderella's castle and all. They actually switched it. And in the Disney intro, you see Sleeping Beauty's castle. They recreated it really nice compared to the animation. And again, I gotta give high praise to Angelina Jolie. I mean, this has to be probably one of her greatest performances. Or a lot of people are talking. This is probably what she's going to become known for, her grand opus. Out of all the roles she had, I mean, she really brought this movie together. Her performance was flawless.
I and I give her all of the credit to that because uh, here's the thing: it's hard to go ahead and talk about what's really great about this film, is because if you haven't seen it yet, um, the character of Maleficent is so much more deep than you would ever get. She's not the simple villain um, by any means. Um, the depth of characters and unusual for a film, not the static characters that we go ahead and usually get, the puppets that go ahead and are just moved here and there, but actually you get to see the dynamics of almost all of the characters in this movie. There's very few static characters other than the actually very, very comedic three fairies that take care of Sleeping Beauty, which I actually think that was a stroke of brilliance on the filmmakers for this film. Those three characters,
Or even
but
the actresses in them. I mean, come on.
Imelda Stockton was one.
Juno Temple was the younger one, and I gotta say, she was cute.
But no, I would say all of the characters were fully realized. I don't think that there were any flat characters at all. Even the crow that does Maleficent's bidding, you know, all of them, they grow, they live, and that's one of I think the best achievements in this film. Um, it was so much more than what a lot of people were expecting,
Oh, and I
and
gotta
it is
give
what I was.
praise. You are right. You are completely right. The even though Angelina Jolie got the attention, and she deserved it. She was great. This is an ensemble movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I gotta give it credit. I mean, we talked about it with the X-Men. It's really hard to do an ensemble movie when you clearly have an A-list movie star, and right now Angelina Jolie is, she's up there. She's a household name. And to have her, and yet you have this great cast that clearly stands out, is really top notch. I gotta praise the director for this. I mean, he had absolutely control of this film. He had a vision, and he carried it too. And again, to clarify, this is one of those rare films where not only do you talk about third dimensional characters, that these characters have their own life, their own. This is one where you see it in evolution of a character, how one character goes from being a good person to being bad to finding the redemption, and then you see other characters who take different paths and the choices they make throughout
The
one
other,
film. Usually you need a whole series or something for this to see this, but in one
um,
movie they pulled it off.
oh yeah, and they pulled it off seamlessly. I will give them also credit for this. Um, this could have easily just been a retelling of the typical Sleeping Beauty tale. It's I'm going to make this emphatic. It is not by any means a retelling of Sleeping Beauty. It is not. It is its own story, though. The elements of Sleeping Beauty's story are there. It is totally reimagined and totally brought from a flat to a very much more deep um, story in this. And they don't fall into typical traps of movies going ahead and taking stock uh, stereotypical storylines and just shoving the characters in and seeing how are they going to react like this. For me, everything that happened in this is a result of choices, of actions. But I give them the most credit for this. Disney is very well known to go ahead and um, basically kidify and sterilize every single story that they get a hold of. Often. That's what people think when they think Disney. Yeah, it's going to be, a sterilized version of it. This is not. Especially when you go ahead and see where they could have gone at the very end of this movie when it comes to um, a person that I can't say he's a villain. I can't say he's a hero. I can't say any of that because it's too, his character is too deep to go ahead and just peg him in one little thing.
Well, let me
But
tell
what
you, let me bring this point up here. Is that I want our listeners who haven't seen it to know that even though it's a Disney movie, and they're very clear, they let you know right away it's a Disney
Oh
movie,
yeah,
they go dark. And it is, I gotta say, it's as dark as I've ever seen a Disney movie go.
I've seen darker.
Name one.
Return to Oz was very much darker. It
No,
doesn't
no,
do it
this
to
was dope.
Return
This
to
was
Oz.
way darker. This
Return to
was way
Oz,
dark.
then
Yeah, you're talking about the one with Faruka Salt or Faruka Bulk?
yeah,
No, no, no. I gotta say, this has been much darker. I mean, the issues they deal with: betrayal, murder, life, death, and corruption. The characters again make things go really dark,
I
and
will.
I know where you're coming from on that one. But with the themes, and you've seen characters, and I'm saying because the evolution of characters made them go really, really dark. And comparing it to the other one, the characters were all consistently the same in the Return to Oz.
I agree with that.
Here, these characters, you see hope in them in the beginnings, and then you see the loss of hope. You see despair. You see utter tragedy in them. And Disney has not, I can't even think of a movie where they've actually dealt with such themes. I
And
mean, to
it's
see true betrayal in itself is really hard, and they pulled it off.
um, well, I mean, I consider the other one a bit more dark because I mean, sorry, uh, I do consider a witch that goes ahead and takes people's heads and then wears them for a day, puts them up on a mantelpiece to go ahead and put a new head on is dang pretty dark. But I will agree with you. When it comes to themes, they did not sterilize. They did not. They were not afraid. The makers of this film to go ahead and deal with very harsh, very hard subjects.
And the
And
one, go ahead.
well, and the thing is that they pull it off. I would not take a 5, 6, or 7 year old to the film. 8 and 9, they might, they're going to go ahead and be able to go ahead and understand it a little more. But the little young kids, no, this is not the Sleeping Beauty they're going to be wanting. Go ahead and go and buy Sleeping Beauty on Blu-ray and have them watch that. Then let them go ahead and discover this on their own. But when it comes to mid-teen, maybe 10 or 11 or 12, they're going to love this, I
Well, the
think.
movie has ratings, okay, but one of the ones I want to bring up is Elle Fanning, who played the Sleeping Beauty character, and all this. I want to mention, that she is the positive light. She is, the ray of sunshine, in this dark film. And one thing is, I mean, being kind of cynical and all that, it's so easy to hate like a preppy, upbeat person and all that, especially, being kind of cynical minded and all this. But the one thing I was really impressed with, I did not hate this character.
Yeah, she's
I
not so goody two shoes that she's annoying that, you're going, oh, come on. Okay,
Well, no,
let's go
no, no.
ahead
I
and
mean,
go
my
back
point
to
was,
Buffy.
my thing is that she is goody two shoes. She doesn't do anything bad in the film,
No,
you know,
yeah, but she's not
but
annoyingly so.
but she is what we can define a good person.
Hmm.
But yet she's real. They really make her real, and you end up rooting for her. You end up liking her, even
But,
though she is like a positive, beam.
you know, the thing about the Beastie is you get to see this relationship, even when, the younger Beastie, and if you've seen the movie, you know what I mean when I say the Beastie.
Yeah, don't give it
um,
away.
but basically, the more you see between the two of them, and I think that it is full on Elefanting and um, Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie. The two of them working together create something that is much more than just the sum of their parts. And I think the two of them working together, it was, I don't know what the director did to go ahead and let them mesh so well, but it worked.
Well, I gotta say, I think it was just good casting. I mean, at first when I saw it was Elle Fanning, I kept thinking, oh well, typical. They picked a Disney kid. But here, I mean, I gotta say, there is not a bad casting choice in this film. Everybody was really well picked, well selected. I mean, Elle Fanning really hasn't done that much. She has basically side roles and minor roles in in House and CSI, and minor stuff. I mean, her most biggest claim to fame is she's Dakota Fanning's younger sister. But I gotta say, she really swung it out of the park. And to be a good actor, I mean, it's easy to say that, oh yes, Angelina Jolie is a great actress. She is amazing. She gets all her praise and all that, and it is well deserved. But to stand toe to toe with that actress and have Ellie Fanning there, you're thinking, oh well, she's going to be outclassed. And I could cite examples of that where you have a good actor meets a crappy actor, and who steals the scene. Here, she really stood on her own, and because of that, yes, the chemistry was just there. That you really want to know this story, and they push it. These two were the real ones who continue to push the story, and I got to say that This type of acting, I am going to be very surprised if I don't see Oscar nominations.
Mm, I can tell you this: they might, but a film like this, usually Oscars go ahead and snub their nose at it. You know,
Well,
they'll,
we're dealing with, I know the most popular movies, but this is kind of where it falls under that fine line.
yeah,
I got to say,
and
it's on
they
the vein
deserve
of,
it.
I was going to say, when I did my review, but I'll say now, they're kind of on the vein of Lords of the Rings. I really was getting that vibe from this movie.
Actually, I didn't get Lords of the Rings vibe. The vibe that I got, uh, it goes ahead and is more of a, well, it's constantly being compared to Alice in Wonderland, and it's not Alice in Wonderland.
No, no, I got to
Uh,
disagree with that.
yeah, it's not. It's also being compared to the Oz the Great and Powerful. But the thing is, the Oz and Great and Powerful was all style, but no substance. Um, when it comes to the depth to this, um, I keep on getting the feel that I got from Jack the Giant Slayer. Even though Jack the Giant Slayer is not the best of films, this is definitely far superior.
Mm.
But that feel of old English fairies, uh, giants. I mean, I can easily see this being the same world as, Jack the Giant Killer. I cannot
No,
see a
no,
villain coming out in the middle of this.
no. I can't side with that. Like I said, it's not. I'm not saying it is Lord of the Rings,
No.
epic style, but I'm saying it's in that vein, in the heart, because the
Mhm.
epicness, the feel of it, to me was there, and I
Yeah,
can't cite another fantasy movie that really delves into that unless I'm going back on the clock and going to like Dragon Slayer
Dragon Slayer,
type.
maybe Legend.
Legend definitely, but then like I said, I consider Legend more two of Lord of the Rings type vein. But again, this one to me really had a grand feel to it, and I gotta call it my summer surprise film.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it my summer surprise because the thing is that it is the film that I was hoping that it would be. I kept on seeing this. When I was seeing it for first, I was going, okay, it's going to be interesting seeing Maleficent's point of view. But when I started to see the Trents, the trees, walking around, going ahead and being like guardsmen, I
Maybe that's where I got Lord of the Rings from.
maybe. But the thing is that I started to go ahead and feel, uh, okay, maybe this is going to be that kind of fantasy that I do love. I mean, Legend is one of my guilty pleasures. Um, there are other fantasy stories that other people, would hate. I love. I grew up with the movie Wizards and Fire and Ice with um, all of this going on. But this actually, because you cannot, I don't call it Lord of the Rings because the thing is that that would be classifying this, and I don't think you can classify this other than what it is. To really get a feel of what this film is, you need to see the film.
It's a fantasy film. That's my classification.
Yeah, but it has its own spirit. I cannot put it in Lord of the Rings vein.
Well, again, you're
So,
confusing me. You're confusing my words by saying that it is. I'm saying that it's the heart of it, the essence,
yeah.
the epicness, I guess the
Uh,
moving trees. I find it. My example is the moving trees, the beyond the realm of believability that it
yeah.
could.
I,
You
I
know,
think that it goes ahead and delves a niche of its own, and it's going to go ahead and be, I think, a seminal film that I hope inspires others to go ahead and reimagine what they think fantasy is all about.
Well, I'm glad because I'm hoping that this sparks the fantasy genre again. Because, I keep bringing up Lord of the Rings, and I said in vain, and I ended more comparing it, and I don't want to compare it too much to it, but that's my opinion. But it is a fantasy film,
Fantasy's starting to
and
get stale, and that's
and
what
no,
I
I don't
like
think
about this.
I want to say not stale because there hasn't really been a really good fantasy film in a long time.
Yeah, but they are all imitating the. They all want to be, a Lord of the Rings kind of thing. There has to be an elf in there, and an elf, a dwarf, and you know, some little guy that go off on a quest. And here in this movie, there is no quest.
Name another one.
That there, another one exactly like that.
Well, you
Well,
said that there's always one. The only one I'm thinking of is Willow, and that was like what 20 years ago.
well, I'm sorry, but Willow is nothing but a rewriting of Star Wars into a fantasy setting. But
Yeah, I mean I didn't like Willow either. Um, no, but I'm saying there is. My point is there isn't a fantasy film. There, I mean, the other day I was watching Dragon Slayer again, and I'm like, where is these movies? I
I know
mean, Clash of the Titans. Yeah, the first one was, I mean, was okay, and then the sequel to it was just plainly
garbage.
not good. And the only other ones that came close to it was 300, and yeah, this is no 300, of course, but
And then Aragon, ugh, that was a
well,
big failure. But
yeah,
then
that.
again, I never thought the books were that great anyway.
And even then, you're
Um,
right. Aragon failed badly, and and that had potential, but again, they killed it. The only thing that's out there right now, besides Maleficent, is Lord of the Rings, and Game of Thrones, if you really want to, label stuff. But this, you're right. It does stand on its own. It's somewhere in between,
it, it
and
it is its own creation, and I hope that it inspires people to go ahead and go beyond the typical stereotypes. And I'm talking not just films. I'm also talking about, because I am one that reads the fantasy genre, and a lot of fantasy, especially lately, of the mainstream epic fantasy, has become a bit stale. Um, what I do like is that you have the other genres. Urban fantasy has really become on one of its own, especially the past 10 years with Jim Butcher and all that. But I mean,
well,
this
even then, I'm siding with you. I gotta say, I haven't had a good fantasy novel in a long time. And I know people want to say, people have offered me books and pointed to different characters and books and all that, and I've gone up and read them. And I got to say, I haven't been impressed with anything I've read or any good fantasy books in the last 15 years. It's been hackneyed, and I'm sorry. I know some people, I know right now one of our listeners is going to yell at me and all that and point out to a couple of authors and all that for me to look at it. I got to
there
say,
are
I've looked
some,
at them. I
there
haven't
are
found him.
there are some, but the thing is this: um, they get drowned out. They're not the ones that are going to be on the top of the lists, and
Well,
they're
even then, like I said, I have people who point out to me writers, and I go and I sample some of their work and all that. And like again, I haven't been impressed with anybody. So I'm sorry if some of our listeners and all that. I know one of our listeners is going to point me to like a list of writers, and I'm sorry, but I've probably read them, and I'm not that impressed. Maybe I'm very nitpicky. I don't know, but honestly, I'm craving fantasy. And we got to wrap this up really quick.
yeah, because we're
All right.
yeah. Let's get
Usually,
the
again,
grade.
usually when we do film reviews and all that, we give them grades because that's what we do. David, I'm gonna have you do it because you got a bunch of them to do.
Oh well, I do have to go ahead and give a grade for first myself, and I have to go ahead and give this an A plus. I myself was hoping for some classic Fey fantasy. You know, Fey being um, Old English fairies and things like that, and it's what I got. This is exactly what I wanted. Um, I, of course, went to see this with my very close friend Orlando, who's not here today, and he asked me to go ahead and say that he liked the film a lot and felt that this was what he was wanting as well. He didn't expect this, but he was pleased with it. And so was his fiance who is with us. But I can't give a grade for him because he didn't tell me what grade he would have given it. But I'm sure it would have been an A from what I heard from him.
Okay. For me, again, I gotta say, I went in there expecting the movie to be okay. I did not have high hopes for it. I thought it was going to be not exactly a Sleeping Beauty retelling, but close to it, explaining the story of the bad guy and all this, and stepping into it. Um, I gotta say, I had the full experience. I watched it on the IMAX 3D, Super HD and all that, and I gotta say, it was actually visually very impressive. It was IMAX worthy, 3D worthy. I really was stunned at how beautiful this film was. Visually, I mean, it's just so nice seeing the fantasy of the trees, the special effects, the fairies, the mythical tree gnomes, and all these different characters, and they had their own life to it, their own essence. The special effects they did with Angelina Jolie, with the wings and having her fly and all that, and it was very magical. I mean, they really pulled off the essence of magic. And again, the acting was top notch. I got to say, they really picked all the great actors. Elle Fanning was amazing as Aurora. Of course, Maleficent, Angelina Jolie deserves all the praise that she's getting for this role. There was no bad actor in this film. Everybody really stood out. And again, like I said, I was expecting a half worked on movie, and I really have an amazing film. So again, this is like one that people need to see, and because of that, I'm giving this film an A plus.
I need
It's
to
really
add.
good.
I do need to go ahead and add something. Um, Basically, another person that I didn't give credit for this film in yet um, is basically the person that plays young Maleficent, Isabel Malloy. Uh, Really, she's in the very beginning of the film, and the thing is that it relies on her to actually establish who Maleficent is in regards to where she comes from. And I will go ahead and say that she did a wonderful job doing that in regards to establishing the roots for Maleficent.
All right, we got to move on here. We got time issues coming up.
Yeah,
One bit note for those of you in the El Paso, one of the places to check out is the El Paso Roller Derby, which again is being played by your El Paso Roller Derby girls. Very nice people. We got to hang out with them a lot. We got to know them really well. They're going to be having cosplay night Saturday, June 21st. For more information, you can check out the El Paso Roller Derby Facebook page. Again, doors open at 5:30, and cosplay night will be Saturday, June 21st. And again, Nerds on the Couch will be there to cover the event. All right, coming up here, we got more again as the filming's going underway for the Batman versus Superman news. Official casting has been done. The Nerdist has reported that Emily Blunt is up for a major role. And if you see, you know Emily Blunt, she's done a lot of film work and all this. And everybody now is speculating on what role is Emily Blunt going to be.
Have they already? They've already cast Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah, that's going to be Gail Gadot, who, again, she's already been spotted and all that. And speculation about her costume is still going on. The costume designers dropped hints. More than likely, I think we're going to be looking at a 52, because Superman's 52. Looking at Batman, he's definitely 52 Batman. So
Yeah.
I would expect a 52 Wonder Woman to appear.
So
But
that means, what characters do you think that they might introduce that would be? I assume that they would probably make her one that would probably be a Justice Leaguer. So the question is what is she playing?
well, yeah, that's the question of the day. To me, she is kind of an up there actress. She is a name. So I wouldn't use her for a minor role. Some
No.
people are saying Catwoman, and she could. I mean, she's got. Well, compared to the last few Catwomen, anybody would be better. But I said my choice. If I looking at her and all that, I would put her up as Hawk Girl.
Hmm.
I
She
don't see
does
that.
have the build for.
I I don't see that. I don't see Hot Girl at all. I mean, I think more than likely, at least just from every movie I've seen her in, she would be an excellent Mercy. Lex Luthor's bodyguard. I could see her as a villain. Totally, totally.
But if you would want to use her in more than just this, I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's.
Uh,
I mean, yeah, Mercy is a great character. And in case for our listeners who don't know, she is Lex Luthor's bodyguard who, she had some great scenes. Her role has kind of diminished in the new 52, but she's there. And
Or hey,
then,
I don't see her playing a hero. I mean, I see her playing a villain. If not Mercy, who knows who else she can play? I wouldn't really see her as a hero just because there's way too many already to begin with. They need something to counter that. All we know for sure is that we got Lex Luthor.
oh man, you
This
just
has
put
to be something else.
you put an image in my head. It's Batman, Superman, Magpie.
Magpie? Magpie. Could be Magpie. Yeah, you're right. It could be Magpie. That would be a good
uh,
one. Magpie.
oh, that's a
that
waste
would
of
be.
a villain.
Well, that's the interpretation we bring in. I don't think she's gonna be Harley, although that would be interesting too.
She would be a good Harley, but just
Do
I
we
mean,
already
some of
know?
her roles that I've seen her in, like you said, you mentioned, she's aggressive. She can be aggressive. She can be out there, and so that's what like I was thinking. I mean, that could be the modern Hawk Girl, because the Hawk people are very aggressive. They're very forward. And that's the thing I was thinking. The personality would be there. And they need more females. I mean, we already have, like you said, yeah, we have minor villains. I mean, there's always the rumor that Metallo is in it, and people have said Metallo's in the script, but nobody has mentioned names. And the other actor keeps denying that he's going to be Metallo or that he's involved in the movie, but yet it might be true. He's not. He's nowhere near the set right now. But forgot his name. The guy who played Conan. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Carl,
From
whatever, the one
he
that
was.
was in,
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones and all that.
yeah,
But
Game of Thrones. Yeah.
oh, well, I forget his name. But
Yeah, but
yeah,
yeah. Oh,
he kept denying it, but then they kept bringing his name up. But now it's probably true because he's nowhere near the set. But maybe if he's in that area, people might substantiate the rumors a bit more. And so you're right. I mean, we could use a bit more villains, but everybody now is hinting because of that picture with the card and stuck in the wall. I know that they're saying that there's a Joker, or again, there's a Joker in the deck.
Or
So
I just thought of this. It could be Cheetah for all we know. We have a Wonder Woman. We've never had a Cheetah anywhere. She would be a great Cheetah. I
yeah,
don't know if I'm listening or not, but that would be great.
you're right. She would be a really good Cheetah, and it would again lead to the Justice League movie. If it's going to
Yeah.
be, hero, the way the Justice League movie is starting to shape up, I'm starting to think it's going to be heroes versus villains.
Well, it would be interesting. I mean, we have evidence. We know Lex Luthor's in the movie, obviously. We saw the card. We know Joker. There's maybe a Joker connection. We're not 100% sure on that, but we know if he was in there. The only one missing a supervillain would be Wonder Woman. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, and the Cheetah would be great. I mean, maybe Emily Blunt is going to be the opposite to Gail Godot.
Could be.
That would be really good.
Yeah, I would be interested in that. Well, we'll see. We're all speculating. We don't know. It would be
And
great.
then,
Yeah,
oh
but
man,
everybody's speculating. That's what
yeah,
That's why they're called rumors.
and that's half our job.
Well, we're not confirming anything. I mean, we're not spreading rumors. We're spreading ideas. A rumor is saying that we know for sure that this is going to happen. No,
Yeah, no,
we're
no,
just
no.
No,
speculating.
no,
We're
We're
not.
not
We're
even
not
saying for
rumor
sure.
mongering.
We're just
yeah.
gonna.
Yeah,
The
We're
only
just.
thing that we know is that Emily Blunt has been casted in the movie.
yeah. We know
That's
that for
all we know.
sure.
And we're
Yeah,
just being geeks on. Ooh, what if she plays this, or what if she's playing this?
yeah,
Uh, yeah, we're geeking out on the news.
yeah. Which is kind of like the other half of our job. Uh, you know, here, and then the other thing that's come up now is that Commissioner Gordon is going to be in the movie. Maybe for a cameo, maybe a bigger part. It is confirmed that part of the setting for the Batman and Superman movie is going to be Gotham. So we are going to see Gotham City. And so, of course, Commissioner Gordon.
It's gonna be Matt Damon, dude.
Oh, not Matt Damon.
Uh, uh,
No.
I mean,
It's
oh
either him or
man,
Kevin Smith.
I would like Bob Cranston. No, not Bob Cranston. I mean, Cranston from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston. Yeah.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston. I mean, he's the popular choice. I think, I think he would be an amazing Commissioner Gordon.
Well, I like
Gary
his
Oldman.
I
idea
love.
of. Yeah,
I,
originally I heard he might have been the joke. The Lex Luthor, but we'll see. I don't know. I would have liked him as, but hey, I'll settle for him as Commissioner Gordon.
hey, he would make a good Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that
he
he would.
was. That was a big plan, but I think the way they're going with the 52 Lex Luthor,
Which is a
and
younger one,
yeah,
isn't it?
he is a young man. He's about Superman's age,
Yeah.
and they're making him like the. It's hard to define his role in the 52 because Lex Luthor is a military, he is an inventor, he is a genius, but he's also a very shrewd businessman
He's
who
a
Well,
is,
mastermind character.
yeah,
yeah,
he calculates, dude. He calculates how everything's gonna, which I think is perfect for this guy. I think and I forget his name. He could pull it off. But
Jesse
they,
Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg. Yeah, I think he could pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, people have doubts, but I always knew he could probably do it. And the Commissioner Gordon, people keep saying they want Gary Oldman back. Gary Oldman, good luck getting him back. He didn't want to come back for the Batman sequels.
He didn't.
But no, he didn't. But they bound him by the contract. He hates repeating himself. He's one of those actors who he loves being something else all the time. I mean, look at the roles this guy does. I mean, you don't really see Gary Oldman for Gary Oldman. You see Gary Oldman in makeup and wigs and hiding behind facades. And so doing sequels for him is quite boring. And he did the
Uh,
Batman one because he loved it, and he had the contract, and I guess the money was good. But he actually tried to get out of the other Batman movies.
um, I mean, and by the way, going back to your, the oh, what's his name? Oh, jeez.
Keep it
I'm
going, man. People are listening.
yeah, I'm sorry, guys. It's finals time, and my mind is blown. I'm trying to get out of school.
All right.
Matt Damon. Um,
Again, you're on
Matt
Matt Damon.
Damon's going to be in there. If you really want to go with the joke, go ahead and put him in as Robin.
Uh, he's jokes say, oh, dude, no. I mean, the rumor is that there is a Robin, or a Nightwing, but doubtful. I mean, flashback scenes and all that because that keeps coming up. But come
Hmm.
on, it's got to
No,
be the
I
younger
know it's
guy.
a joke. It's a joke, but I mean, if Matt Damon's going to be in there, I mean, I don't think so.
I don't think he would do it, but Tommy Lee Jones would be interesting as Commissioner Gordon.
He already has a presence in Batman, and people are going to look at him and go ahead and say, "Why
Yeah, you
is
got a
his face?"
point. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, and then considering
Not his
how
fault.
old,
Yeah, I don't blame him. I blame the director on that one.
yeah,
Yeah,
considering how old Tommy Lee Jones is now, man, he's like 78. I mean,
Well, Commissioner Gordon is not a young guy, man.
yeah, but he's not retirement age. Well, it's tough. I mean, it's tough to cast somebody because Commissioner Gordon, yeah, they usually draw him with white hair. He looks old, but he gets physical. He gets into it. He's not afraid to take on the Joker by himself. He'll throw some punches, and he is tough as nails.
yeah.
So, it's really tough casting. But again, I see Zack Snyder, and I see the influences. When I saw the Batman costume, everybody saw the Dark Knight Returns. And looking at it, I see the Dark Knight Returns. I see the 52 Batman. I see the movie. I mean the video game, the Arkham Asylum, the Arkham City Knights. I see the video game influence, and so I see that Zack Snyder is doing a bunch of them. And if he's going to do Commissioner Gordon, I see him getting different influences too.
Some people have said maybe Guy Pearce.
He would be good,
I
but
gotta see him as a villain, actually. He could be a great
well,
villain.
Guy
Sky's the
Pearce
limit.
Guy Pearce can be anything, man. He's a good
Yeah,
actor.
that's what I mean. I would love to see him as a villain.
Uh, They've also said that maybe Damian Lewis.
Uh, Again, that could work. Not my top choice. Not even my top fifth choice, but you know, he could do it. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, moving on a little bit. We talk about casting and all that. Robert Pattinson is going around saying that he's the front runner to be Indiana Jones.
Oh, no, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and that was the
I
nation. That was the entire consensus of everybody on the internet. You know.
I don't want anybody that is tied to um anybody that is tied to um Twilight being anywhere near Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I mean, it is a known fact that Indiana Jones, as much as people don't like it, Disney now owns Indiana Jones. They own the character when they bought Lucasfilm, but they didn't own the film rights. And Paramount Studios at that time could have released or could have made remakes and I mean, could have done their own Indiana Jones, but because of wheeling and dealing that's occurred in the last couple of years, Disney bought Indiana Jones completely. They own the character 100%. Film rights, everything. So, a prequel, which again, Robert Pattinson, well, obviously he's a younger actor and all that. I guess that's what Disney's looking at. And they pretty much confirmed it at the expos. They pretty much said that an Indiana Jones film is going to happen with a prequel, and they are going to continue the film franchise with another actor because they're saying, it's the character, not the actor. But, and Robert Pattinson, might look the part. I can't really judge him on his acting skills because I absolutely refuse to see any of those awful vampire movies. And I can't think of anything else except from the Harry Potter movie that I've seen him in.
Hey, he was
And
great. He died in that. It was a great movie.
Yeah.
yeah,
Which character
typical
was
line.
he?
He was in the Goblet of Fire. He
Yeah.
was the
He
one that
played
Harry.
the guy that lost his life. Um,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
Cedric
Voldemort
Diggory.
killed him.
Yeah, Cedric Diggory. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You know what?
Diggory.
Yeah, now that I know who it is, yeah, he deserved it.
but again, as things go, that actor. I mean, that character hadn't really just. I mean, that's not even a noticeable part in that movie. It could have been anybody. And
Yeah.
so I can't think of any other film that I would consider seeing with him in it. So I don't know if he's a good actor or not, but
But who would you want to go ahead and throw in their hat?
that's a tough choice because if I'm the director, which I might be considering they can't find one for Ant-Man, but I but if I was to do it, I need somebody who at moments can channel Harrison Ford by
Mm.
pointing because he points in every film and then rubbing his chin, you know.
So
But
you
Can
need that cantankerous adventurer that has a little bit of that roguish smile to his face that would be able to convince
Yeah.
a girl to actually follow with his stupid plans.
but
Well,
again,
for
who
me,
can
it's
do
a
it?
little
That's the
bit different.
question.
I
Who
mean,
can do it?
yeah, well, for me, you have to consider you're gonna need a guy. You're gonna need a guy that's gonna look intellectual and looks like he can, take care of himself at the same time, and that's an interesting combination. You know what I mean? Because you can't discount the fact that he's a professor. Even as a young guy, he's an educated man. We gotta be able to see that in the character, and all the rest of it.
Yeah, and even I mean, following Harrison Ford is going to even. I mean, it's been a lot of years, and Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was still actually now a while ago. People are
yeah.
still going to compare him. I mean, Indiana Jones is such an iconic Hollywood icon. You just see the hat, you see the whip, you know who that is.
Yeah, you just need to. There are those people that all you need to see is a silhouette of the person, and you know exactly who it is. Indiana Jones is one. Darth Vader is another.
Mickey Mouse.
Superman, Mickey Mouse.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Superman's another.
Alfred
You see a
Hitchcock.
silhouette of Superman, unless it's Captain Marvel going ahead and making an appearance.
Uh,
I'm not
Usually.
too sure about that. One thing's for sure, you got to get somebody who can say, "Get off my plane." Oh, wait a minute, that's wrong. Wrong thing.
I hate snakes, Jack. Jack, I hate them.
I think.
No.
I
well, he
think
has
that's
to
number one.
sound kind of like this because you don't talk to me like that.
Um, you guys, I had suggested also, for if they needed somebody for Han Solo as well as Indiana Jones, I had suggested Carl Urban a while back as a possibility.
And he would have been great 20 years ago.
But he's already starting to go ahead and gain getting a little too old for it, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do this part, you got to get a young guy because this is going to be prequels. I'm going to assume this is a direction that they're doing. They want to do prequels pre Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom because people forget. If you pay attention to the dates that they do in Indiana Jones movies, the Temple of Doom was before Raiders of the Lost Ark. And that's a little trivia there for our listeners. Yeah, Temple of Doom is actually a prequel, not a sequel.
I don't think he would do it, but Chris Pine would be an interesting choice.
Hmm.
I don't see him channeling Harrison Ford.
No, you know what? He's okay at channeling Kirk. at times. But there are sometimes when I'm like, well, he's not James Tiberius Kirk from the original Star Trek. It's just not all there. I mean, whoever you're going to get to play Indiana Jones as young Indiana Jones is not going to be an exact fit. I don't think you can find somebody who basically is Harrison Ford unless you clone him and then you put all those put the right brain stock right there. You're not going to have it.
You know who
Okay,
was really good? And I just thought about this right now. The guy who came out in Star Trek with him, the guy that played Chekhov. I can't remember his name.
Anton,
He,
his name is Anton
Yeltsin, something like that.
Yelson. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know his
Okay.
first name is Anton.
Yeah,
And
he came out in Rod Thomas. He did a good job in Rod Thomas.
yeah,
I don't
but I don't
know.
see it, man. Honestly, I think he's too much of a. You need a guy who's rugged.
Yeah, he's
well,
too scrawny. He
here's
looks like
some.
if he tries to use that whip, he's going to break himself. That's what I see.
You have to
Yeah.
see Rod Thomas, dude. He took care of himself in Rod Thomas. He did a good job in that movie.
Yeah, I
Okay,
saw it, Thomas. I don't, and I wasn't. I. It's
here's
hard to find somebody, especially in this day and age, who's rugged.
here's a suggestion
And
from
I'm
the
too old
internet.
to be Indiana Jones. So
Hmm.
Yeah, here's a suggestion from the internet. Bradley Cooper.
he could do it, but he has to tone himself down.
Yeah.
He,
I know
he's
this. If you wanted
very.
to go with the geriatric Jones again, you could always go with Liam Neeson.
Oh no, no. I mean, no. I mean, again, yeah, for looks, I would go with Bradley Cooper, but he needs
James
to tone.
Caviezel.
Who?
James Caviezel.
Again, he's actually older than what he appears to be. But yeah, somebody in that vein, Bradley Cooper, Jim Caviezel. I think it's Jim Caviezel who you're mentioning. Yeah,
Caviezel. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they would be able to go in and do it. I mean, you need to get an actor who can be rugged, like you said, somebody who can get into fisticuffs, but at the same time show that he is a brilliant professor.
Though we only see him as Beast, very young, maybe Nicholas Holt.
That might actually be a decent choice.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And, yeah, I mean, I could imagine, seeing him with the glasses and all that as a Professor Jones. So maybe he could pull it off as Indiana Jones. That would be one. If I was doing the auditions and all that, I definitely would call up the agent to have him audition. But Robert Pattinson, that's gonna be a tough sell for me.
Another one, but we already think that he's too old for Wolverine. Hugh Jackman is another one that they've suggested, but nah, I
No.
don't think so.
No.
All right. Hopefully they'll get it right. Moving on. Marvel, of course, has done stellar. But there's a couple of things that I want to bring up. But first, a little bit of good news is that, again, season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to happen. I've spoken to some people about it, and I've had conversations. It's been a mixed show. Some people absolutely refuse to see it. They said they don't like it. They don't care. They even saw the season finale, which to me it picked up after Captain America: The Winter Soldier. They still don't like it. But, season 2 is going to happen. And it's no longer spoils, okay, if you haven't seen it by now. S.H.I.E.L.D. is getting rebuilt with
Yep.
the character of Clark Gregg, as
Colson.
Coulson. He's now the director of the new S.H.I.E.L.D. And he's promising that season 2, which is getting ready to get made and all that, is going to be less tech, more brass knuckles, a little bit more action-oriented, less, equipment, James Bond type of stuff, and that they're going to get darker in the Marvel universe.
Hmm.
Is this a
Good.
direction a show should go?
Yeah, I mean,
I
they kind of already set you up for it. I mean, how could it not be dark, man? I mean, look at the shield's gone. Who's gonna defend the world, man?
Well, there's a new
you
Shield.
can't. You don't know who you can trust.
Exactly, and there's the other thing. We know Hydra's there. I mean, if you saw Captain America, you know Hydra is alive and well.
Yeah,
And
but
hidden.
I mean, I'm thinking the mistake, or I think what they're correcting, is that Shield is supposed to be a secret organization. And when I saw Captain America,
It was
and I
empty.
saw Shield had a big tall building, and in the lobby they had a big stone Shield eagle there, and I'm kind of, wow, that's not really much of a secret organization where I could walk in and take a picture of that. And so I think this is where they should be. They should be secret. They should be not
Underground.
known. Yeah. And even though I think Shield's getting a bad rep, I think probably the people behind it said, we got to restart it. Because as much as, even though people at this point, if I was living in that universe, Shields would be a four-letter word, and I would rank them with Hydra.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
people hate Shield in the Marvel universe because of all the secrets that came out, and that Shield was really a Hydra front. So they
Yeah, and
associated it. They don't separate it. They don't say, "Oh, I'm a Shield agent and not a Hydra agent." How do you know? At that
yeah,
point, you don't trust anybody.
and also with Shield, the fact that it's gone ahead and created so many secrets, and all of them had basically been released. It's just like somebody letting up letting loose all the secrets from the CIA, and you find out what they've been really doing, or the NSA, and people don't like it when they find out, hey, this is what they've been looking for. And so, of course, now people in the universe are going to hate that. But what do you think about the fact that they're going more low tech, more brass knuckles?
Well, if you look at the show, and I watched most of it. The most interesting thing they did in the show is they're setting you up for supervillains. They did a great job with that. You know what I mean? You got Graviton coming for sure. And they've hinted at other kind of villains, so that's going to be interesting. I mean, it's going to be interesting seeing these guys going brass knuckles against, supervillains like Graviton or whatever they're going to come up with next. There's been hints of who else is coming, and that's interesting. Because they're not a big organization again. It's just them having to take on superpowered beings. We'll see what kind of edge they have.
And we gotta say, it's too easy nowadays that you have a supervillain, and all of a sudden you come up with some high-tech solution, to defeat him. That's Iron Man's thing. But
Yeah.
you gotta come up with different ways of battling certain bad guys and all that. So I get the way that they have to work. But
Um, if you saw the season finale, that was a great way of how they did it. I mean, they had a threat, and they found a perfect way of neutralizing that threat, which I thought was brilliant. I don't want to spoil it or anything. Well, anybody's already seen it, but the way they figured out how to stop Deathlock was great. It was out of the box thinking. It wasn't very, oh, let's just shoot him so he goes down or whatever. It
yeah,
was
but then to point it out, same episode again. Not who cares? It's been no season
yeah.
finale's been a long while. You should have seen it by now. Um, Bill Pullman becomes a Deathlock at the end, and he's like, "I'm gonna have my revenge." And then all of a sudden, a big mega beam comes and disintegrates him. You know, there's your high tech solution. Sometimes, it was a great scene, but again, a little too easy. But
You know,
we'll
you,
see. They
you know
need
what
to
it
revamp
reminds
it,
me
though.
of? You
Huh?
know what it reminds me of? The scene where the guy with the big sword is going after Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones just bam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
again,
Sometimes you just have to shoot him.
that famous scene was not planned. Okay, and
No,
sometimes
he was
they just
tired.
have to. No, he was sick with wicked diarrhea. So,
Yeah,
Yeah, everyone on the set got sick and they were tired and they're just like, okay, that's it. Why don't I just shoot him? Like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Okay, and also again, still on the Marvel thing. This to me seems great casting. Jared Leto, who again comes off his Oscar win, to me, I loved him in Mr. Nobody. Is the strong contender to be Doctor Strange,
Hmm.
and I gotta say, this would be an amazing choice. If you can't get Johnny Depp, this would be a great choice for a Doctor Strange.
well, you can get stranger than Johnny Depp.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Yeah, you know who Jared Leto is?
Yeah, no, I do, but I mean,
Yeah.
I
and his hair will work with it, I guess.
I'm having a hard time thinking of anything else he's been in. What else has he been in? I
He
remember
got
him
an
from
Oscar
Social
for
Live. That's about it.
Mr. Nobody. If you haven't seen Mr. Nobody, Mr. Nobody is a great film. It's on Netflix. It's really an amazing film.
Now
He got
that
an
Dallas,
Oscar for he does a lot of independent. He did that one for with Matthew McConaughey,
yeah, Dallas, whatever.
or
I
Dallas
didn't know.
Buyers Club.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he's
wouldn't know
really
the
an
name.
he was an indie actor, but his stock has risen a lot because people have paid attention to how good he is. So he is on his way to becoming an A-list actor. So if the Marvel Disney people are smart, you tie him in for this movie because he is starting to become a name. And keeping up with a couple of things, we'll pick up. Las Cruces Comic Con is coming September 5th to 7 to September 5th to 7, 2014. Las Cruces, New Mexico. First guest announced is Ray Park. He's going to be coming back to the Southwest area. There's going to be more guest announcements coming soon, and we have reliable info. Cosplayers coming to Las
to
Cruces
say the
Comic
least.
Con, and
To say the least.
I can guarantee you that the person in charge of finding the cosplayers is working really hard at getting you the best cosplayers in the country.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm just glad that he knows the cosplayers and can identify great talent, especially when they wear less. Anyway.
Yeah. And I mean, already just announced today, keeping up on conventions, another one for the Sun City Sci-Fi people, the Comic Expo in October. um, no surprise there, but a guest announcement is Kirika is going to be again cosplaying at the convention, and let's start a petition to get her a Slave Leia.
Uh,
I will go because she'll probably hurt us with the petition. So I don't
I
know.
vote Carla from Vampire Hunter D.
Well, it's a Star Wars Expo, dude.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
come on. It has to be
Yeah,
Star Wars.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Kirika, I know you're listening. You gotta be Slave Leia. You gotta be.
Either that or a Twi'lek.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Or Amandala, but with the cutoffs and all that. Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
It's
continuing
empty
on with
nature.
Marvel news. Okay, this is kind of stirring up a little bit of pot here, and this is kind of a controversy that's starting to come up. And I guess I'm starting to see it too a little bit. Marvel supposedly is not happy with Sony at all.
Hmm.
It's been long. It's been widely known that Marvel Studios wants its characters back. They want Spider-Man back. They want X-Men back. They want Fantastic Four back. I think those are the only ones that they don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly now the big rumor is, and I gotta admit, I'm starting to see it a little bit, is that Marvel Studios is starting to bully and push their weight around.
Oh, is it really that surprising? Who's backing up Marvel?
Well,
Disney.
Disney owns it.
There
Yeah,
you go.
the evil empire there.
Yeah. And the thing is, supposedly, is that Marvel Studios, or again, the powers that be, are not happy with the Fantastic Four
So
choices that are going on, and the acting choices, the script. Supposedly, they're not real happy with what they're getting, and honestly, I'm not that happy with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I'm not happy with it either. So
I mean, they'll know from my lack of Well, I can't deny it. I'm going to go see it, but
Okay, well, you can imagine it might be like that one with the that pilot that you saw. There, you see the hand, go stretchy and all that. As long as they don't do something like that, I think that you might be a little bit happier than that.
yeah, I don't know. Just from what I've heard, and Renee's been there, we've heard the same kind of things. Yeah, no. Might as
You
well
know,
get Michael Bay directed, you know?
Oh,
and again,
oh.
people want to say, well, you don't like that Johnny Storm is going to be played by an African American. The truth is,
Hmm.
I can make peace with that if it makes sense. But
Yeah.
I
It
mentioned
doesn't
it
make
before
sense.
that to me, it's kind of a form of racism when you specifically alter a character's race just for the sake of altering a character's race.
Yeah, it's like going ahead and doing the that Sailor Moon live action movie that
Yo.
had like one girl was black, the other one was
Mercury.
yeah, and then
Mercury was supposed to be a black
another
girl in
girl,
a wheelchair.
one in a wheelchair and stuff like
Yeah,
that, just to have them like that, so they can go ahead and make it universal and like, yay, we can go
Okay,
ahead and make everything homogenous.
well,
And
this
again,
is a problem. This is a problem I have with it. I mean, they've done some changes, and I think they've worked. I like what they did with Nick Fury. They turned him into an African American. They put him in a position where he's in charge. He's the boss. He calls the shots. And Samuel Jackson is brilliant as Nick Fury. You know what I mean? I liked what's his name? He passed away recently. Came out in Daredevil.
Michael Clark Duncan.
Michael Clark Duncan, very good, thank you. Turned him into the Kingpin, and again, he's in a position of power. He's giving the orders and stuff like that, and that makes him look brilliant. The problem I have with Johnny Storm is Johnny Storm's kind of a hotshot. You know what I mean? He's not. He's irresponsible. He sleeps around, and oh, let's turn him African American. I think that's kind of insulting, to be honest with you.
I
That's the way I would
I
see it.
don't know. We all
Why
know
not
that
turn him
Disney's
into Mr.
eventually
Fantastic?
going Darth
If
Vader.
we're gonna do the switch, why not do that? That doesn't make sense.
Go ahead,
We
David.
know I'm sorry.
No, I say go ahead, David.
Go ahead.
We know eventually Disney's going to go ahead and send Darth Vader over there to force choke the president of Sony. Will give us back our characters.
Well,
Relinquish them to us. Join
here,
the dark side.
here's my stand on it. I mean, some characters you have room to alter, some you don't, and you could make an argument. The Johnny Storm, I mean, I'm not that bothered by it, because I don't think he's that iconic. The Fantastic Four are iconic, and my argument is like, okay, if you're gonna go that way, then make Sue Storm black. It'd be perfectly fine.
Yeah, they're supposed to be brother and sister anyway.
Yes. And I would be perfectly fine, I mean, you can get, Sue Storm is known as being one of a beautiful woman, one of the most beautiful women in the Marvel universe. Go ahead, there's a lot of African American actresses who would gladly fill that bill, and have the brother and sister connection there, and to me that makes sense. And here, I think they're just changing it just to look like they're diversified, and that's completely wrong to me.
It,
And
it it's I think a marketing ploy, but I don't know. I'm not in charge, and the thing is
yeah,
that until the movies fail, and believe me, the last Fantastic Four did not do well, even though they had one of the best Marvel characters as a side, line that they could have hit it out of the park with the Silver Surfer. Instead, it was, and the big villain was a cloud.
Galactus. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I
No,
mean,
Well,
yeah.
let's not hold on. Let's not review that movie. Let's not. Okay, but yeah, first of all,
If it's going to be that bad, then maybe we have a chance of them relinquishing. Maybe.
yeah, but again, the other thing that's cheering is that Marvel is even saying that they might put the Fantastic Four comics on hiatus for an extended period of time. Just
Yeah.
again to deny promotion to the movie. And I have to say, I mean, it's well within their rights and all that, but it is very much a bullying tactic. I mean, the big buzz we got with Spider-Man was that, yeah, Peter Parker's back. They got rid of that superior Spider-Man storyline, which to me started off great, but then it just dragged on and it got irritating. And I think they did it kind of because they had to. And here, the X-Men, I got to point out to the X-Men, the X-Men was it got critically reviewed. It was a major hit. Marvel's not promoting it.
Mm-mm.
There's no big X-Men storyline happening right now. And the other thing I'm noticing is like, I'm a toy collector and all that. I
No
go
toys.
around the toy aisle, yeah, there's no toys. There's no
And Marvel
X-Men.
is the one that still owns the toy rights. There's nothing Sony can do about that.
Yeah, and Hasbro could within its rights. They own the toy rights. Marvel doesn't tell Hasbro what to do. They pay the licensing fee to do whatever they want with Marvel toys. They could release X-Men toys right now if they wanted to. There's
But they
none.
haven't.
There's tons of Spider-Man toys because there's always been Spider-Man toys. But even then, it's not that great of a selection right now. They're kind of awful. Um,
And they're
the
not
Captain,
movie.
yeah, a lot of people are complaining the Captain America toys. There are tons of Captain America toys, but again, it's nothing really to brag about either. I'm still mad. There's no Falcon, figure out there to get. And so, it could be that again, Marvel is bullying the toy company, saying, "No, you're not going to release any X-Men toys. No, you're not going to, the other McDonald's or the other fast food saying, no, you're not going to do any X-Men Happy Meals or anything like that."
About the only promotion I've ever seen from a restaurant chain is probably Carl's Jr.'s with that X with extra bacon.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and that's it, right? I haven't seen toys. I haven't seen anything really. And I've seen Spider-Man toys at I think McDonald's, but that's it. I'm kind of like, wow. And I know Disney would want them back in the fold.
Well, then again, I can't really blame them too much. Spider-Man wasn't good. Spider-Man 2 wasn't good. It had problems. If Marvel had them, I don't doubt it'd be a better movie.
Well,
Much better.
I think they would because as much as we say Disney is the empire, they're the empire for a reason.
Because
You know,
they get talent and they get, they get the job done.
well, again, let's point out a certain thing. Now we say, we talked about how good Maleficent was.
By the way,
We talked about how.
oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say that we talked about Disney. That the Marvel movies so far have been they've just knocked it out of the park with them. There really hasn't been a bad Marvel movie unless, we count Iron Man 3, but even they are going to say Iron Man 3 was a mega hit. And yes, I am going to concede that point. It was, and people disagree with our reviews, and some people cite Iron Man 3 as their favorite movie. And hey,
But
people are allowed to have their opinions. But here, I think that it is a bullying tactic, and I do think it's gonna get worse. I think, and unfortunately, what's gonna end up doing is that we're gonna see bad movies coming up. Fantastic Four, I'm willing to say it's gonna be awful, and the
Which,
Sinister Six, I'm not looking forward to.
yeah, which I don't think is a bad thing. I mean, you make a negative connotation that it's bullying, and yeah, I'd agree with you, but I think these properties should be with somebody that's actually going to do something with it. You know what I mean? That's actually going to live up to the potential it has. I mean, Spider-Man 2 didn't really get there. You know what I mean? X-Men was okay, but I still think Marvel would have done a better job. We'll see. You know what I mean? I mean, we
Well,
had the
we have a
discussion
chance.
last week.
Well, I'm
We
gonna
have a
say
chance.
this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna just my final point. I think that we have Spider-Man fatigue. I think Spider-Man needs to take a rest for a while.
yeah,
And it's
we
only
need.
been back for 2 movies.
Yeah, you know what? We're kind of burned out on the origin story and everything because it keeps on coming out to be the same thing. I mean, Peter Parker's there, gets bit, something happens, he gets injected, or raid with spider DNA, and he becomes Spider-Man. And then you got this whole thing. And you got tons of different storylines that they've come up with Spider-Man, especially from Ultimate Spider-Man or whatever. But I don't see them keep on going. But the only thing I would want to see from Spider-Man is Black Cat kissing Spider-Man and then realizing it's a 15-year-old kid and throwing up.
Yeah, but he's not a 15-year-old kid anymore.
Well,
They could reboot it.
I
Ultimate Spider-Man.
All right,
I
guys.
would
Do you
go
know you
ahead.
have a point to make?
well, we saw. Well, Daredevil wasn't bad. I mean, the director's cut for Daredevil wasn't bad. For what it was good. I want to see what Marvel does with it in Netflix. I'm interested to see what Marvel does with that. What is they're gonna take with it gonna be, And I'm looking forward to that. And that's a good example of what somebody does with the property that isn't with Marvel, and with Marvel having the property. We'll see if there's a difference. I don't know. I'm thinking there will be, but I'm not sure. We'll see.
Well, now that you mentioned it, I want to point out the difference. Okay, when you talk about the X-Men, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four at Sony Studios, they have executives and they have outside people and all that who produce movies and all that. That's how some production companies. Marvel Studios, like I said, it's an actual building. It's a huge building with script writers, and the half of the comic book artists are now in Los Angeles. They're really the office at New York has shrunk because a lot of the comic book artists, the PR people, Marvel actually has a huge building dedicated to Marvel properties. And they're next to the Disney Buena Vista studio, which is, again, they're next to the Pixar, where, again, it's a whole lot of people dedicated to providing you entertainment. So, that's the major difference.
And plus, I want to go ahead and point out these are the people that originated the storylines and actually have different storylines. They've been working on these storylines for eons. Well, not eons, but years, and they have a direction. They know where to take it, and that's what's the difference. I mean, these are the people that actually know the storylines, and while the other one, the company outside, have to work what's already been there and what's there, and then they're like, oh, we need people to research this. No, why don't we get Michael Bay to go ahead and direct this and make everything? That's where you get Ninja Turtles that were aliens and stuff like that.
I would say they have a better chance of getting Fantastic Four back because they haven't been making money with Fantastic Four. I would see that one being relinquished before you would see Spider-Man. And as for Warner Brothers with X-Men, because I think it's Warner Brothers, isn't it?
I thought it was Fox. I don't know.
Oh no, Fox.
No, Fox and
for X-Men,
Fox
I
and
don't
Sony
see that
kind of
one
go together.
Yeah.
There's a chance with Fantastic Four, but I don't see it with Spider-Man or X-Men because as long as they're making money, they're not going to go ahead and relinquish the Golden Goose, no
Yeah.
matter how deserving the starving family is.
Well, that's
Like,
kind of you brought it up. You said if they fail, even if they fail, people still know there's an interest. I mean, Superman Returns failed, but Warner Brothers knew. And you ask people, are you interested in seeing a Superman movie? Even though this one, people still say, I am interested in seeing a Superman movie. People still want this, and that's why we got Man of Steel, and we're getting all this stuff because people still want. There's a Hulk movie on the horizon. Even though the two Hulk movies didn't do so well, people still say, I want to see a Hulk movie.
Planet Hulk.
Oh,
I don't see it happening, but I think they're going to do She-Hulk. But that's another discussion for another day.
Yeah.
Another day.
Moving on, we got to wrap things up. Again, continuing with Star Wars news. Pictures all over came out this past week. I got to say, I love that alien beast on Tatooine.
Mm-hmm.
That looked awesome. And some of the casting news that came in, Lupita Nyong, who was
Hmm.
Oscar nominated from 12 Years a Slave, uh,
Yep.
signed up for it. Game of Thrones fans. Gwendolyn Christie, who, again, forgot her character name, but she's the ugly female knight, who I gotta admit, they really make her ugly, but in real life, she's beautiful. She's a beautiful, tall actress. And have been cast for episode 7. And the biggest rumor that's starting to come out is Lupita Nyong, um, quite possibly might be Ventress.
Ooh.
Venstra's still around.
Ooh.
Well,
Makes sense.
we saw her fate. I mean, she kind of she got out of it, and she hightailed it out of the war and all
Yeah.
that in the Clone Wars. So,
And disappeared.
and who's to say how she ages and all that? We don't know her race.
Yeah.
So she might be a reformed Jedi. Luke Skywalker might have found her and gotten her into the fold. I don't, that's the rumor. That's the rumor. But again, we haven't seen anything. The Tatooine photos, what you can see on our Facebook page, looks really great. Last time we saw the alien from the J.J. Abrams video,
Yeah.
and also we saw the Millennium Falcon.
Yep.
Or
And
she
no,
could be Ventress' daughter,
Yeah.
man. That would be an interesting take on
The
it.
building of it.
Possibly. Right now, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, the sky's the limit. Wow.
I
Yeah.
mean, same thing. I mean, Gwendolyn Christie. I could see her as Luke Skywalker's daughter.
Ooh.
you never know. You never know.
Because a couple of things. I mean, Mark Hamill, and man, I wish I was there, was at Star Wars Weekends in Disney World. And if you saw him, oh man, he looked kind of, he looked well. He lost a lot of weight. He has a beard. And man, he was,
Obi-Wan?
I think he is. And if you saw him, he was swinging the lightsaber.
Is he finally learned how to swing that lightsaber instead of doing it awful like he did?
I never thought he did awful, but he of course, he can't say much, but he was talking about how great it was, seeing Carrie Fisher, Peter Mayhew, Harrison Ford all over again. I know that, and he was saying that his role, that he loves being Luke Skywalker again, because he was saying that his role now is that he was the young adventurer in the first movies, and now he is aged. He's playing an aged character. So, he's doing it a little differently now. So, that's the little hints that he's giving. So obviously, it's great seeing him back.
I'm just glad that he's going to be back in the in that role. After Star Wars had ended with Return of Jedi, I felt that there was kind of a void, that there wasn't any more story. And now that we have this, I mean, it's like seeing an old friend come back from wherever they went on a big long trip that you never expected to see him again, and here he is.
Well, to be honest, will we accept anybody else's Luke Skywalker? No.
There's
No.
an emphatic heck no.
Yeah.
There is no one else.
And again, possible leaks. Somebody got their hold of the Hasbro Star Wars plan that
Ooh.
they had for productions, because Hasbro, the toy company, is working on toys.
Of
They're
course.
they're getting the design. You're going to see tons of toys again for Episode 7. I could imagine a big explosion. They said Episode 7, and then on that same list, they had Star Wars Boba Fett.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, and so it looks like they're going to make a standalone Boba Fett movie.
Nice.
Escape from the Sarlacc.
Well, I think it's going to be a prequel. I hope they're looking at Daniel Logan again.
Mm-hmm.
That would be good.
All right. That's pretty much the news we got to cover. Again, you can catch our Facebook page, facebook.com/NerdsOEC. You can see our articles and more information on our main page, Nerds on a Couch. That's all together, nerdsonacouch.com. And again, coming up conventions. Again, we got the Las Cruces Comic Con. Don't forget the El Paso Roller Derby night, and catch more information on their Facebook pages. Catch us every Thursday and catch our shows on YouTube and all that. Thank you for joining us, and leave comments, posts.
Before we leave,
Make it
Yeah.
quick.
Orly.
before we leave, Orly, do you want to give a grade to Maleficent?
88.5.
Okay. Okay, that's all we got. Catch you later.